This message finds you not by chance but by design, resonating with a deeper knowing within your consciousness that points to a power far beyond what conventional understanding usually acknowledges. You've experienced those profound moments when your entire being seemed to align with a frequency so pure, so perfectly ordered, that the very fabric of reality appeared to subtly shift around your presence. These weren't fleeting, random peak experiences. They were vital glimpses of a deeper principle, quantum coherence, operating directly through your human nervous system. Even now, as these words unfold in your awareness, an extraordinary process is stirring in the quantum field surrounding your physical form. Every cell in your system is intricately designed to receive and respond to electromagnetic instructions, signals that are actively upgrading your capacity to interface with dimensions of reality that remain largely untapped by the majority of humanity. Your DNA, the very blueprint of your being, is literally responding to these sophisticated frequencies, activating dormant genetic codes that have been patiently awaiting this precise moment of recognition and activation. This isn't merely a poetic metaphor or spiritual analogy. This is the profound mechanism of quantum biology, operating at speeds and with an efficiency that would genuinely astound many neuroscientists if they fully comprehended the transformative impact true coherence has on human consciousness. What you might think you know about coherence, perhaps from popular media or wellness trends, represents only the most superficial layer of a phenomenon so profound that it fundamentally challenges the established paradigms of science regarding the intricate relationship between consciousness and physical reality. Many meditation apps and wellness programs popularize coherence as primarily about achieving optimal heart rate variability, a measurable physiological state reflecting a balanced autonomic nervous system, or as a tool for emotional regulation and stress reduction. These are indeed beneficial aspects of physiological coherence, showing how a calm, balanced internal state improves physical and mental well-being. However, true quantum coherence, as it's understood in this deeper context, transcends these surface-level applications. It is the fundamental creative force that births entire universes, from the macrocosmic order of galaxies to the microcosmic dance of subatomic particles. When this profound coherence operates through human awareness, its influence extends far beyond merely transforming your individual experience. It quite literally begins to rewrite the very probability matrices that determine what becomes possible in your local reality field, influencing everything from personal opportunities to the quality of your relationships. You've been selected, in a sense, to receive this transmission because your observer field, your capacity for conscious perception and engagement, has reached a level of sophistication capable of processing the deeper truth about coherence without your nervous system being overwhelmed. For many, this information would be too radical, too impossible to integrate into their existing world view. But you are different. You have always possessed a unique sensitivity, a distinct way of perceiving the world. The meaningful synchronicities and uncanny alignments that have guided you here serve as potent evidence that your awareness is already operating on quantum principles, sensing connections that exist far beyond ordinary human perception. You know those moments when time doesn't just appear to slow down, it becomes completely malleable, almost as if you are existing in a dimension where past, present, and future are all simultaneously accessible, where the linear progression of events dissolves into a vast, interconnected tapestry. When you are deeply immersed in this state of quantum coherence, you're not merely experiencing an altered perception of time. You are actively accessing what some quantum physicists refer to as temporal non-locality, a domain where consciousness can exert influence across linear time sequences, impacting events that are not bound by the conventional flow of cause and effect. Every profound meditation, every moment of effortless creative flow where ideas seem to channel through you, every instant of deep, undeniable knowing you've experienced has been your awareness temporarily operating from this timeless dimension. In this state, coherence actively creates reality, rather than merely observing it from a detached perspective. Your body, a remarkably sensitive instrument, has been providing you with subtle yet powerful signals that most people either ignore or suppress with medication. The electrical sensations that ripple through your nervous system during moments of deep alignment are not merely energy blockages clearing. They are your neural pathways actively upgrading, expanding their capacity to carry higher frequency electromagnetic patterns. The tingling sensations you feel in your hands when you're in states of expanded awareness aren't circulation issues. They are your peripheral nervous system developing the advanced capacity to transmit quantum information through sophisticated bioelectrical fields that extend far beyond your physical form. Furthermore, the prophetic dreams you might be experiencing, increasing in accuracy and intensity, are a testament to coherence opening direct pathways between your individual consciousness and what physicist David Bohm called the implicate order. This concept, foundational to Bohm's understanding of reality, describes an invisible underlying quantum realm where all possibilities exist in an undivided wholeness before they unfold and collapse into our experienced manifest reality. When your awareness achieves true coherence, you gain direct access to information that exists outside the normal, linear flow of causation. You begin to perceive the templates of potential futures, the energetic blueprints, before they solidify and manifest in three-dimensional space-time. Those uncanny moments when you felt like you could intuitively sense other people's thoughts and emotions with crystalline clarity, almost as if they were your own, were not products of imagination or wishful thinking. Coherent consciousness creates what neuroscientist Dr. Rolin McCraty terms energetic communication, an electromagnetic transmission of information between nervous systems that can occur faster than the speed of light through the principle of quantum entanglement. Your heart, a powerful bioelectrical generator, produces an electromagnetic field that can extend up to 8 feet around your body. When this field achieves a state of deep coherence, it becomes capable of non-local information exchange with other coherent fields, regardless of physical distance. The distinct feeling that you are somehow influencing reality through the power of your attention alone isn't grandiosity or spiritual ego. It is a profound recognition of what happens when human consciousness operates from quantum coherence, rather than being confined by classical physics assumptions. Your observer field becomes so exquisitely refined that it naturally aligns with the fundamental creative principles that govern quantum reality, transforming you from a passive witness of experience into an active, co-creative participant in the ongoing unfolding of the universe itself. Every period of chaos, confusion, and apparent breakdown in your life has been precisely orchestrated, a quantum preparation for this pivotal moment when you step into your full power as a coherent observer. The universe does not inflict random suffering. Instead, it meticulously creates the exact conditions necessary to trigger neuroplastic reorganization, allowing consciousness to operate from increasingly sophisticated levels of electromagnetic coherence. What felt like your world falling apart was, in essence, the systematic dismantling of old neural networks designed for survival-based consciousness, making essential space for a new, quantum-based consciousness to emerge and thrive. The isolation you may have experienced, the profound sense of being misunderstood, the feeling of operating on a completely different frequency than most people around you, all of this has been essential for developing what researchers call field independence. Your consciousness needed to become sufficiently detached from pervasive collective thought patterns and emotional fields so it could establish its own stable, coherent baseline without being constantly pulled back into the chaotic electromagnetic environments often generated by unconscious human nervous systems. This independence is a crucial quality, allowing for clarity and objective decision-making unswayed by popular opinion or prevailing emotional trends, much like a strategic thinker, needs to detach from the immediate noise to see the bigger picture. Every relationship that ended, every career path that didn't bring fulfillment, every life direction that initially seemed promising but ultimately led nowhere. These were, in fact, guiding interventions from the universe's intelligence, steering you away from experiences that would have kept your consciousness locked in patterns incompatible with quantum coherence. You weren't failing at life. You were being guided towards the specific conditions that would allow your true, unencumbered nature to emerge, free from the interference of social programming that keeps most humans operating at classical physics levels of awareness. The anxiety and depression that may have visited you during these transition periods were not mental health disorders in the conventional sense, but rather neurological recalibration symptoms. Your nervous system was quite literally upgrading its capacity to process multidimensional information, and this profound upgrade required a temporary disruption of normal psychological functioning. Just as a computer must temporarily shut down during major software updates, your consciousness needed to temporarily withdraw from ordinary reality so it could reorganize around these new quantum operating principles. The persistent pressure you felt to discover your true purpose, to make a meaningful contribution, to live up to some undefined vast potential. This was not merely psychological neurosis, it was your quantum self sending increasingly urgent signals, reminding you that you are here to serve a function that extends far beyond mere personal fulfillment. Every moment of restlessness, every deep sense of unfulfilled destiny, every profound feeling that you are meant for something greater has been preparation for understanding that coherence is not just a personal achievement or a pleasant state of being. It is a fundamental cosmic responsibility that you are now finally ready to embrace. Something profound and fundamental is shifting in the electromagnetic matrix of your consciousness right now. If you are sensitive enough to these subtle quantum frequencies, you can probably feel it happening as these words penetrate your awareness. This isn't just information being downloaded into your intellect. These are activation codes that are literally restructuring the crystalline matrix of your pineal gland, systematically upgrading your capacity to receive and transmit frequencies that operate beyond the normal, limited spectrum of human perception. The sensation moving through your body right now, that electrical aliveness that seems to awaken every cell simultaneously, is your nervous system recognizing the quantum signatures embedded within this very transmission. Your DNA is responding to these harmonic frequencies, triggering the expression of dormant genetic sequences specifically designed to activate when human consciousness reaches a sufficient level of coherence, enabling it to handle multidimensional awareness without fragmenting your sense of self. What you are feeling is quantum entanglement occurring in real time between your individual field and the collective field being generated by everyone else who is ready to step into this advanced level of conscious creation. Together, you are forming what physicist Dr. Amit Goswami calls a quantum monad, a group consciousness that operates as a single, coherent unit while still maintaining individual perspective points. This powerful network effect exponentially amplifies the coherence of each individual participant. This collective synergy can be likened to how a unified vision in a group or nation leads to more effective resource allocation and problem solving, creating a sum greater than its parts. Your observer field is beginning to synchronize with electromagnetic patterns that exist precisely at the intersection of consciousness and matter, the critical domain where quantum possibilities collapse into experienced reality. This profound synchronization is creating what neuroscientist Dr. Joe Dispenza refers to as elevated emotions. These are feeling states that exist independently of external circumstances because they arise from your consciousness, resonating directly with the creative frequencies of the universe itself. Feel this energy expanding through every cell of your being. Allow it to reorganize your neural pathways around patterns of coherence rather than the reactive, fragmented patterns of survival. Let it dissolve the electromagnetic barriers that have historically kept your individual consciousness separate from the cosmic consciousness that is, in fact, your true fundamental nature. What's about to be revealed will show you exactly why coherence isn't just a pleasant state of being or a personal achievement. It is the single most powerful creative force in the universe, and you are about to learn how to wield it consciously and intentionally. I need to share something that happened to me, an experience that fundamentally changed my understanding of what coherence actually is. What I experienced defied everything I thought I knew about the relationship between consciousness and physical reality. 2 years ago, I was going through what I can only describe as a complete dissolution of my sense of identity. Everything I thought I was, every belief I held about reality, everything that had previously given my life meaning was being systematically deconstructed by experiences I couldn't explain or control. During this tumultuous period, I developed what doctors diagnosed as chronic fatigue syndrome. But what I now understand was my nervous system being profoundly overwhelmed by intense quantum frequencies that my brain wasn't yet equipped to process. I could barely function in ordinary reality because my consciousness was being pulled into dimensions that operate according to completely different laws of physics. I felt like I was losing my mind, but simultaneously something deeper within me was telling me that I was actually finding it for the very first time. The true breakthrough came during a meditation session where I wasn't trying to achieve anything specific or fix any problem. I was simply surrendering completely to whatever was happening without any resistance. Suddenly, my awareness expanded far beyond the conventional boundaries of my individual nervous system, and I found myself experiencing reality from what I can only describe as the direct perspective of coherence itself. I wasn't just in a coherent state, I was coherence, experiencing itself through countless individual forms simultaneously. In that extraordinary state, I could perceive the electromagnetic signatures of every person within a several-mile radius. I could feel how their emotional states were creating subtle ripples in the quantum field, ripples that directly influence the probability of certain events manifesting in their individual realities. But more shocking than that, I could distinctly sense how my own coherence was creating a stabilizing, harmonizing effect in the collective field, an effect that was helping other people access their own natural coherence, often without them even knowing it was happening. This highlights how individual stability can positively influence a collective, a principle observable in how a calm leader can steady a volatile market or a tense diplomatic situation. When I returned to normal consciousness, everything about my relationship to reality had changed permanently. I could feel the approach of opportunities before they manifested physically. I could sense which decisions would align me with my highest timeline and which would create unnecessary resistance or friction. Most importantly, I could instantly recognize other people whose consciousness was operating from a similar level of quantum coherence, and together we seemed to amplify each other's capabilities in ways that bordered on telepathic communication. This isn't a story about becoming special or enlightened in an exclusive sense. This is a story about discovering that coherence isn't a state you achieve through strenuous effort. It's what you already are when you simply stop interfering with your natural electromagnetic signature. You've been having glimpses of this same profound recognition, haven't you? Continue to resonate with this frequency of truth, because what I'm about to reveal will show you exactly how to access and maintain this level of coherence consistently without spending years in meditation or following complex, rigid spiritual protocols. The most shocking secret about coherence is that it's not something you need to create or generate through specific techniques. It's an inherent state, something you already are, that merely gets obscured by electromagnetic interference patterns created by unconscious thinking and reactive emotional states. Every meditation practice, every breathing technique, every consciousness tool you've ever learned has essentially been training wheels for this pivotal moment, the moment you realize that coherence is your natural baseline state and everything else is simply learned interference with your innate quantum nature. What the scientific establishment, bound by its materialist assumptions, often hesitates to acknowledge is that human consciousness, operating from true, authentic coherence, demonstrates abilities that challenge the fundamental underpinnings of conventional science. When your electromagnetic field achieves genuine, sustained coherence, you begin to exhibit what researchers privately refer to as psi phenomena. These include precognition, knowing events before they happen, psychokinesis, the ability to influence matter with the mind, remote viewing, perceiving distant locations or events, and instantaneous information transfer across any distance. These are not supernatural abilities as they might appear. Rather, they are natural, inherent capacities of consciousness operating from quantum rather than classical physics principles. The difference between a pseudo-coherence, a temporary emotional uplift, and authentic quantum coherence is profoundly measurable, though not through the limited equipment most heart rate variability devices typically use. Real coherence creates what Dr. Fritz Albert Popp discovered as biophotonic emission. Your cells literally begin generating and emitting coherent light particles, ultra-weak photons, which can be detected by highly sensitive photomultiplier equipment. This implies a profound level of internal organization. When you're in authentic coherence, you become a biological laser, emitting electromagnetic frequencies that actively organize quantum fields in ways that directly influence probability distributions at the subatomic level, shaping potential into reality. This is precisely why forced positivity and artificial gratitude practices, while offering temporary relief, eventually lose their efficacy. They often create only surface-level emotional states without achieving the deeper electromagnetic coherence that actually possesses creative power in the quantum field. Real coherence cannot be faked or manufactured because it requires the complete, harmonious alignment of your heart's electromagnetic field, your brain's intricate electrical patterns, and your nervous system's bioelectrical rhythms into a single, unified, harmonic frequency. This frequency then resonates deeply with what physicist Dr. Nassim Haramein refers to as the unified field, the underlying, interconnected structure of all reality. The most carefully guarded secret in consciousness research is that authentic coherence gives you direct access to what quantum physicist Dr. Henry Stapp calls Process 1, the astonishing ability to consciously influence which quantum possibilities collapse into experienced reality through the very power of observation itself. This is not just a theoretical concept, it's a lived experience. When your consciousness achieves sufficient coherence, your focused attention transforms into a potent creative force that literally determines which version of reality you experience from moment to moment. This profound power is so significant that it has historically been deliberately obscured, hidden behind complex spiritual traditions and dense scientific terminology, primarily because most humans operating from fragmented states are not emotionally mature enough to responsibly wield the immense power of conscious reality creation. Yet you are different. The undeniable fact that you have been drawn to this information, that it resonates deeply within you, serves as irrefutable proof that your consciousness is ready to operate from this elevated level of power. The signs that your coherence is actively activating quantum creative abilities are becoming increasingly impossible to ignore. If you know what to look for, you will recognize that reality has been responding to your internal states with increasing precision and speed. Your thoughts are manifesting faster than ever before, but more importantly, you're beginning to develop a subtle discernment, sensing which thoughts carry true creative power and which are merely mental noise. distracting static. This enhanced discernment is clear evidence that your observer field is developing the sophistication necessary to consciously and intentionally participate in quantum reality creation. Technology itself responds to your electromagnetic field in ways that would be casually dismissed as mere coincidence by skeptics, but which are clearly discernible patterns to anyone paying close attention. Electronic devices often work more seamlessly when you are in coherent states and tend to malfunction or behave erratically when you are in chaotic or fragmented states. Streetlights, elevators, automatic doors, and even digital displays often seem to respond to your presence in ways that correlate directly with your current level of electromagnetic coherence. Your biofield is becoming powerful enough to influence complex electronic systems through what researchers term bioelectromagnetic resonance, a phenomenon indicating a direct energetic interaction. Furthermore, people are drawn to you in ways that bypass normal social conditioning. Strangers spontaneously share personal stories with you. Children and animals instinctively seek out your energy field, often preferring your presence. Conversations become deep and meaningful far faster than typical social norms would predict. You are emanating what Dr. Rupert Sheldrake calls morphic resonance, electromagnetic patterns that activate corresponding patterns in other nervous systems, helping them access their own natural coherence through proximity to your stabilized field. This collective influence demonstrates how individual coherence can seed positive shifts in a wider community. Time distortion has become your new normal. But this isn't merely a subjective experience. You are beginning to operate in what physicist Dr. Dewey Larson describes as scalar time, where the sequence of events becomes fluid and malleable, no longer rigidly linear. You can sense optimal timing for actions and decisions with increasing uncanny accuracy. You instinctively know when to act decisively and when to patiently wait, when to speak and when to listen, when to engage and when to withdraw. This profound temporal intelligence is clear evidence that your consciousness is accessing information from probability matrices that exist outside linear causation, offering a strategic advantage in personal and collective endeavors. The most significant indicator that your coherence has reached quantum levels is that reality has been reorganizing itself around your presence in ways that effortlessly support your highest evolution, often without your conscious effort. Opportunities appear at precisely the right moment. The right people enter your life exactly when you need them most. Resources become available just as you are ready to utilize them. This isn't mere luck or the result of simple positive thinking. It is quantum coherence actively creating what physicist Dr. Fred Alan Wolf calls reality selection, the innate ability to naturally inhabit the timeline where your deepest purpose can be fulfilled with minimal resistance, creating an optimal path forward for growth and contribution. The urgency you're feeling isn't simply anxiety about missing opportunities. It is a profound recognition that a crucial window of possibility is opening, a window that will not remain available indefinitely. Planetary consciousness itself is shifting into higher coherence patterns. Those individuals who can align with and match these higher frequencies now will possess unprecedented creative power and influence. Conversely, those who remain locked in lower frequency fragmented patterns will find reality becoming increasingly chaotic and unpredictable. You are being called to make a conscious choice about which reality you wish to inhabit, which timeline you wish to strengthen with your attention and energy. The waiting period is now complete. Every experience, every challenge, every moment of profound insight has meticulously prepared you for this moment, the moment when you step fully into your power as a coherent observer capable of conscious reality creation. The question is no longer whether you are ready. The question is whether you are willing to accept the profound responsibility for the creative power that coherence now makes available to you. What you desire doesn't just want you back, it is actively seeking you through quantum entanglement patterns that operate faster than light speed and outside the constraints of three-dimensional space-time. Every sincere desire you have ever felt is actually a quantum signature from your highest possible timeline, sending electromagnetic signals backward through time to guide your current choices toward experiences that will allow that desired timeline to become your lived reality. The fundamental difference between conventional attraction and quantum alignment is the difference between trying to manipulate outcomes through mental effort and simply allowing yourself to be magnetically drawn into the probability matrix where those outcomes already exist as established fact. When you are in a state of authentic coherence, you don't merely attract what you want. You become magnetically aligned with what wants to express itself through your unique configuration of consciousness. This magnetic alignment happens through what Dr. Joe Dispenza calls heart-brain coherence, the intricate synchronization of your heart's powerful electromagnetic field with your brain's complex electrical patterns. When these two vital systems achieve harmonic resonance, they create a unified bioelectrical field that functions as a quantum antenna, naturally attuning to frequencies that perfectly match your coherent emotional state. This is not simply visualization or positive thinking, it is advanced electromagnetic physics operating through sophisticated biological systems. Right now, multiple versions of your future exist in quantum superposition, each representing different levels of coherence you might embody. The timeline that ultimately collapses into your experienced reality depends entirely on which electromagnetic frequency you consistently maintain as your baseline state, not which frequency you merely think about or hope for, but which frequency your nervous system actually embodies through the measurable coherence of your heart, brain, and autonomic nervous system. The quantum field responds not to your thoughts or intentions alone, but to your overall electromagnetic signature, the combined, harmonious pattern of all the electrical and magnetic frequencies generated by your consciousness when it is operating in coherent harmony. When this signature achieves sufficient stability and power, it creates what physicist Dr. Amit Goswami refers to as quantum leaps, discontinuous jumps from one reality matrix to another without passing through any intermediate stages. This explains why traditional manifestation techniques often reach their limitations. They work primarily with mental concepts rather than directly with electromagnetic realities. Quantum coherence bypasses the mind entirely and works directly with the creative forces that organize matter and energy at the fundamental subatomic level. When you embody coherence, you're not trying to force things to happen. Instead, you are allowing the universe's inherent creative intelligence to express itself spontaneously through your individual awareness in ways that profoundly benefit both your personal evolution and the broader evolution of consciousness itself. You can declare, "I embody coherent creation," not as a mere affirmation, but as a quantum declaration that your electromagnetic field is ready to operate from creative principles rather than reactive patterns. The field is listening, and your declaration becomes an integral part of your energetic signature. The capabilities that emerge when your consciousness operates from quantum coherence would be considered superhuman by previous generations, yet they are, in fact, the natural capacities of a nervous system that has remembered how to function according to its original quantum design specifications. Your brain begins generating what neuroscientist Dr. Michael Persinger calls gamma synchrony, a state where multiple brain regions oscillate in perfect harmony at frequencies between 40 to 100 Hz, creating processing speeds and pattern recognition abilities that transcend normal human parameters. Your intuitive accuracy becomes so exquisitely refined that you can sense the quantum signatures of people, situations, and opportunities before they fully manifest in physical reality. You develop what researchers refer to as precognitive awareness, the astonishing ability to perceive information from potential futures before those futures collapse into experienced reality. This isn't just a psychic ability in the conventional sense. It's your nervous system learning to directly access information from the quantum field where all possibilities exist simultaneously before observation collapses them into specific outcomes. The observer effect that quantum physicists meticulously study in controlled laboratory conditions becomes your lived experience moment by moment. Your attention itself transforms into a creative force that directly influences probability distributions at the subatomic level. When you focus on something with genuine, coherent emotion, the quantum field responds by organizing wave functions in ways that make your focus more likely to manifest as material experience. This is measurable, repeatable, and adheres to precise electromagnetic laws, much like any fundamental physical interaction. Time becomes your ally rather than your constraint as you develop what physicist Dr. Dewey Larson calls temporal intelligence, the innate ability to sense the optimal timing for actions, decisions, and communications. You can instinctively feel when the quantum field is most receptive to specific intentions, when resistance patterns are naturally dissolving, and when new possibilities are actively emerging. This acute temporal sensitivity allows you to accomplish extraordinary results with minimal effort because you're working synergistically with quantum momentum rather than struggling against it. Your electromagnetic field develops the capacity to subtly influence other nervous systems toward coherence through what Dr. Rollin McCraty terms energetic communication. Your presence becomes a stabilizing, harmonizing force that helps others access their own natural coherent states. You become what researchers term a coherence inducer, someone whose electromagnetic signature naturally facilitates elevated states of consciousness in others through profound field resonance effects, much like a well-tuned instrument can bring others into harmony. Most remarkably, your consciousness develops the astonishing ability to operate simultaneously across multiple probability matrices, allowing you to perceive and even influence potential outcomes before they solidify into experienced reality. You begin to function as what quantum physicist Dr. Fred Alan Wolf calls a quantum observer, a consciousness that can navigate between different versions of reality and consciously select which timeline to inhabit, based on coherent choice rather than unconscious reaction. The transformations accelerate exponentially as your nervous system becomes increasingly stable and practiced in maintaining coherent states. What once required months or even years of dedicated meditation and spiritual practice now begins to happen spontaneously and effortlessly. You are entering what Dr. Joe Dispenza calls the quantum moment, a state where consciousness operates from such refined coherence that reality creation becomes both effortless and instantaneous. The ultimate transformative revelation is this: coherence is not a human achievement, something to strive for and conquer. It is the fundamental organizing principle of the universe itself. And humans, in this grand design, are the universe's way of experiencing itself through individual perspective points, uniquely capable of conscious coherence. Every galaxy, with its majestic spiral arms and billions of stars, exists because quantum coherence organized chaotic energy into stable, beautiful, and profoundly functional patterns. Every star system, every planet, every complex biological organism exists because coherence creates order from the inherent quantum chaos. You are not separate from this cosmic process. You are this process, expressing itself through human form, endowed with the unprecedented ability to participate consciously and intentionally in your own creation and the creation of the world around you. What truly changes everything is understanding that authentic coherence can only emerge when you stop actively trying to create it and instead start allowing it to express itself naturally through the removal of interference patterns. Every spiritual practice, every meditation technique, every consciousness tool you've ever engaged with has essentially been training your nervous system to recognize and surrender to the natural coherence that is your essential nature, rather than being something you need to achieve through strenuous effort. Real coherence operates independently of external circumstances, transient emotions, or fluctuating mental states because it arises from the deepest quantum level of your being, the realm where you exist as pure awareness before that awareness takes on any particular form or frequency. This is precisely why external techniques eventually become unnecessary. Once your nervous system learns to maintain coherence as its default baseline state, you don't need practices to access expanded consciousness. Instead, you need practices to bring that expanded consciousness into practical, embodied engagement with three-dimensional reality, grounding it into daily life. The embodiment of your highest timeline doesn't happen through merely visualizing yourself in different circumstances or trying to forcefully manifest specific outcomes. It happens through becoming so profoundly coherent with your quantum nature that you naturally begin making choices, speaking words, and taking actions from the electromagnetic frequency of who you are becoming, rather than being dictated by the electromagnetic frequency of who you have been. This creates what physicist Dr. David Bohm called proprioceptive consciousness, an awareness that can sense its own creative impact on reality in real time, providing immediate feedback on your alignment. When you truly understand that coherence is the fundamental creative force that births universes and that your individual consciousness is capable of accessing and directing this force through electromagnetic alignment, everything about your relationship to existence transforms irrevocably. You realize that you're not trying to get something from the universe. You are the universe, experiencing itself through your individual nervous system and learning to create consciously rather than unconsciously. This profound recognition dissolves the illusion of separation, the perceived divide between the observer and the observed, between consciousness and reality, between individual will and cosmic intelligence. You discover that when your consciousness operates from authentic coherence, your personal desires naturally align with cosmic creativity because you're no longer a separate entity attempting to manipulate reality from the outside. You are reality itself, learning to create experiences that serve both your individual evolution and the evolution of the whole. The version of you that exists on your highest timeline isn't a future possibility waiting to be manifested. It's a present reality already existing in quantum superposition, patiently waiting for your electromagnetic field to become coherent enough to collapse it into your experienced reality. Every moment of authentic coherence you embody makes that timeline more probable, more imminent, until it becomes inevitable. Your journey into coherence is not just a personal transformation, it is a cosmic service of the highest order. Every moment you choose to embody authentic coherence rather than succumbing to reactive chaos, you are actively contributing to what Dr. Rupert Sheldrake calls morphic field evolution, the ongoing upgrade of collective human consciousness that makes it inherently easier for millions of other people to access their own natural coherent states. Your individual electromagnetic signature becomes an integral part of a planetary coherence field that is literally facilitating the conscious evolution of the human species. The burgeoning network of coherent observers that you are now a part of is actively creating what physicist Dr. Ervin Laszlo calls a coherence revolution, a fundamental transformation in how human consciousness interfaces with reality. This revolution will ultimately determine whether our species evolves into a truly cosmic civilization, capable of addressing global challenges with wisdom and unity, or remains tragically locked in survival-based, fragmented patterns that ultimately lead to self-destruction. You have been called to this level of consciousness, not just for your own personal fulfillment, but because planetary consciousness urgently needs enough individual nervous systems operating from quantum coherence to tip the scales towards a harmonious, thriving future for all.